Jeff again here, and this chapter, which I'm going to start off with, I'm going to mention an article, which probably was the beginning of all of this, is how I applied uh, kind of the quality assessment approach to machine translation and computer generated translation post editing. Post editing means it's been generated by computer, and then you go ahead and edit it afterwards. We call it post editing. Post editing can be used in other things too. I use it for video post editing, video caption post editing. But here I'm going to specifically talk about computer generated translation or machine translation or automated translation post editing, which is what I'm kind of known for, among other things, but kind of one of the main things I'm known for. So I'll actually re-mention this in other videos later down the line because I actually did those videos before, but I'm mentioning them in other topics. And these things are all, I'm mentioning statistics and things as I go. So back in 2000, I had arranged for, back when I was doing some of my doctoral studies, for in one of the universities, because I did several programs. I had arranged, while I was working at Carnegie Mellon University, I had arranged with the European Commission to give me access to send me and to give me authorization to help them on automating the post editing of the European Commission, the translations department content, and they sent me a lot of files in different languages. Back then in 2000, 1999. No, it was actually before 2000. It was it was actually when I was in Carnegie Mellon, so it would have been in actually 1998. Wow. Yeah, Chris and I did this paper 2 years later. I totally forgot about this. So I was not at Carnegie Mellon University. I was, but I had gotten this while I was at Carnegie Mellon, just in transition, moving away, and I had arranged with this. I had a letter, got a hash letter to be able to do this and use this data, and what we did was I was working on my thesis was on automate. I wanted to automate I wanted to work on kind of renovating or relooking at or reconsidering the workflow for both controlled language and for machine translation post editing. I actually mentioned this in my ASLib, a Computer in the Translation 1999 talk as well in London. So there are a couple of papers where I actually cited this thesis I was working on and things I was doing not to that. But in CLAW 2000, at CLAW 2000 in Seattle, CLAW, CLAW, Controlled Language Applications Workshop, Chris Hogan and I presented a paper on automated post editing, kind of a module for this. And he and I worked on using those the raw the source language plus raw translation, machine translation plus post edit translation, done by the European Commission translators, post editors. We created a module that was able to replicate or to reproduce the changes that had already been made that were consistently the same. Because we were looking for what are the things that are being changed all the time, but all these translators in these different languages, each language, we were looking at this. You were trying to figure what could be, how to automate what had already been done, and which was consistent, because they had some rules, but the rules were more generic. So we're trying to see, are there actually rules within the rules? Are there rules that people are doing? Even if the rules are general that you're following, they're actually they're actually implementing in a way that creates a new rule that we can actually code, right? So we did that. Chris did a lot of the coding part. Okay, I did a lot of just the figuring out how to do it. Say, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and let's just implement this. Chris is a great coder. He's just a great coder, just great. Chris, I want to be doing some more work with you again. But the idea was to find the patterns. What are the patterns that people are using? And we did. And we in the CLAW paper, the CLAW 2000 paper, we showed 7 patterns that we had found in a number of texts that were it became consistent. We were able to show there's consistency. And the important thing here in the whole quality assessment is there were examples that did not follow the patterns, right? But what's the most important thing to get out of that paper and that presentation was that the number of changes that were made and that were able to be grouped in the same pattern were about 80%, right? So if you applied those 7 pattern rules that we put in there, you'd get about 80. We would catch about 80% of all the changes that were made, right? In a pattern that had a rule that you can fill, and you could be a module, and you can put it on any kind of machine translation system. It didn't matter. But there were 20% that were not, 15% that are not, 20%. But that's okay, because even if this little pattern or the script changed the things for the wrong that were already okay, you're only going to make 15% revert changes compared to getting 75% or 80% or 85% good changes, right? So the important thing is to get the maximum productivity off the stuff that really needs to be changed. And if it's not going to change, if it's going to kind of do some bad changes in other ones, only a small percentage, it's no big deal, right? Yeah, you got to do some changes, but that's okay because you're getting the big bulk that you want rather than the small ones, okay? And this is the key thing. The key thing here is being productivity and finding efficient is finding those that are most common and are most volume, okay? And that was the important part of that paper, that talk and paper. So, and that's all downloadable. The paper's downloadable. Even the presentation's downloadable on my list of publications. So you can go through and read that and see how we did it and all that. And I don't want to go through and explain all that here. Maybe I'll make a video of that too. But I just want to say that that's the key thing. And so we did that, and that set the scene for then me working on the following years about writing the book about post editing and the computer and handbook for computers and translation for translators, something, and writing a lot of papers, magazine articles and papers about machine translation post editing, where I showed the productivity. But I was doing it manually, right? Afterwards, because I was trying to find how to do it in certain tools and how to do it. And then I was able to show those in other videos and other presentations afterwards. And I did that for a number of years. But the thing is, you can't automate things until you've got the stuff actually figured out, right? So Chris and I had actually automated the stuff with the Claude 2000 paper because this stuff had already been done by the European Commission. So we had the data, we had the source, raw, and we had the post edit. So we just created the rules. We figured out the rules and built the scripts because it was already done. But in the following years, I had to actually do all the work on some languages, on different types of data, with different tools, and create that. And then the goal is actually automate it again, right? On a different set of stuff. So, which then I figured out how ways to automate things while doing it. I figured out the semi-automation while doing it in progress rather than waiting to get to the end and then actually doing waterfall and doing all the work and actually figuring it out afterwards. A lot of my work, the post editing, was and the machine translation post editing was actually refining the process during the process so that I could actually customize it and improve it and optimize it while doing the dictionary building. That was the key thing. And then reduce the amount of work at the end actually to have to do post editing. That was the whole goal. Don't wait to the end, get it up front. So you'll see, and as we're going along these videos, that there is a lot of these, this was happening in certain points of time, different platforms, different tools and all that. So this whole section is going to be about the whole machine translation stuff. And I'll try to have a few examples, point to a few videos already done, maybe even make a few more videos to explain the stuff I did and some of the conference talks and stuff. And so we'll do that. But I kind of want to reveal how I did it, because I was doing this all the time for like 15, 20 years. I don't know. Out to all kinds of different brands of tools. Doesn't really matter. Some of them gave better productivity and some didn't. And it depended on the content, and it depended on if you're doing dictionaries or not. I mean, there are a lot of factors involved. But I was trying to find things that were real, real cases, real users doing it all the time. They're struggling with, help them, show that, and then do it, and then say, here's how we did it, right? And then train them how to do it. And I did it. I trained people on how to do these principles afterwards, and then they were able to do, like, wow, I trained several people. Two colleagues, Vincent and Blondine at Micom, trained them how to do it, and they did it like within a couple of hours. They were already doing the dictionary building and stuff, and they were doing it. They weren't, complete Jedi masters of it, okay, but they were able to do it. And then later, with trying to think about the same time, yeah, when we got other people just training other students how to do this so they could do their master's degree and do it, and others. So there are a number of people that you'll see that they ended up doing it as well, in mentioning their theses, master theses, or papers they're doing, or whatever, or interviews or whatever. So they're examples. I'm not going to go through all the list of those because there's just lots of them. But so we'll kind of mention these as we go here. And I want to set the scene for this chapter is about this whole machine translation post-editing topic. And then we'll get to a different topic later on where I apply it in a different place, right? Now, I apply this to different fields. And I think that's the important thing here. We can see here that this is replicable elsewhere. It's not just on one topic. It can be applied to, and not just the language industry. I actually came up with it outside of the language industry by seeing that we're doing some things and have an idea how to do it from big data, from telecom, or whatever, or actually in manufacturing too. These all things were kind of evolving and happening in different fields as I was working in them, and I'll just apply it to each other. I can apply it. Not the language industry isn't really an industry. It's just an application of different industries, right? Because I was doing it in telecom for language for telecom, or language for manufacturing, or language for, I don't know, pharmaceutical websites or whatever. So it kind of just depends. So here we're going to go through and find out the next chapters.